Hey, what's up? I'm Marty Yang, creator of the Lucky Brain podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoy. Adam Ivy, it is very nice to meet you, my friend. I've been watching a lot of your content, and all I got to say is thank you. Thank you for the content that you're putting out. It's truly helpful, you know?
No, I mean, I appreciate the opportunity. We connected a long time ago at this point. So
Yeah.
finally jumping on a call like this is, it's been something long time coming. So I'm glad we can
Yeah.
finally connect, man.
Again, thank you so much for doing this. So
Of
you
course.
are a marketer, specifically with music, and this is something that people find very valuable, even if they're not in the music space like myself, because you have just tips for marketing and how to grow your online brand, and the information that you're putting out is what is the right word for it? I don't want to sound too repetitive, but it's extremely valuable. I love your personality, and you get to really see that over the course of your YouTube career. So people should probably know you have over 65,000 or nearly 65,000 followers on Instagram and over 273,000 subscribers on YouTube. That is nuts coming from a person like me. I have maybe over 100 subscribers on YouTube and 1,300 on Instagram. So this is something that brought me to you because I'm looking to build my brand as well. And I'm sure a bunch of your subscribers and a bunch of your followers are in that same area. So my first question is when did you first start noticing that marketing was important to building your brand?
Oh, I started realizing what marketing even was thanks to my uncle who just gave it a name. I started producing music back in 2006, moved to Florida in 2007, started selling beats online in 2009, 2010, to the point where it was like I could actually say that I was selling beats online. In the past, I had here or there, but it was super sparse and kind of unpredictable. And then I realized I'm one of many, many, many people doing this.
Yeah.
I was raised in central Wisconsin, where there's more classic rock and polka and country than there is hip hop or R&B or anything like that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I need people to know what kind of music I'm making. I need people to know what I have to offer and stuff. So I just started conversations, and I was watching a few people, kind of taking influence from guys like Ryan Leslie, who had beat making videos on YouTube and stuff. And so, I threw my hat in the ring and started making YouTube content. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, people were coming to me and saying, "Oh, I love your video here. Oh, I saw you here." Or, "Oh, somebody recommended you to me." And I realized that you can have all the music that you want in the world. You can have the best products, but if nobody knows about them,
Right.
it's really just, you're doing it as a hobby. So, I always have been very resourceful when I didn't have the resources. So, starting
Yeah.
back in iMovie and Photoshop, what is it, CS2, way back in probably 2007, 2008. I just started figuring out how to do it myself because I didn't have any money at all. I was broke. I had a crappy day job. All of the money that I had from that day job in 2007, 8 into 9 was going towards bills like everybody else. And then
Of
when I
course.
lost my job, I got fired from a job in 2009,
Oh,
along with a whole bunch of other people, because that was their way of letting people go at the end of the recession without having to
right.
pay them unemployment benefits. That's a whole different story. But I said, if I could just spend my time, trade my time and watch YouTube tutorials and figure out how I can make my own graphic design stuff, how I can edit my own videos, how I can really build up a brand myself without having to go and find people that I couldn't afford, I think I'm going to be ahead of the curve. So that's what I did. I figured out Photoshop. I figured out how to use, a very, very antiquated, point and shoot camera, and,
Yeah.
just started making it happen. I think growing up in semi-rural Wisconsin, where there was, cow country 15 minutes away from where I grew up, it,
Yeah.
it made, it doesn't, it it gives you a whole different naivete that actually benefits you because you don't know how good it could be. So you're like, this is pretty good because you've never seen anybody do it on any level. So, that was kind of a benefit. I was kind of a happy idiot back then.
Yeah.
And just off to the races. And so a long-winded answer to your question, Marty, is, I really discovered that the attention is what I needed to grow a business and to be even respected and even connect with other people who could relate to what I was trying to do. And that's how the whole marketing thing kind of fell into place. Like
Yeah.
piece by piece, the visuals and then the copywriting and then the website design and everything. And then all of a sudden you realize you could kind of do the majority of it yourself.
Yeah. So were you mainly learning from YouTube tutorials? Were you reading books? Um,
Yeah, mainly YouTube tutorials back then when I first started figuring out Photoshop and iMovie. I used iMovie for like the first 50 plus videos on my YouTube channel. Even the viral ones were edited in iMovie. I was reading a lot of blogs. There was a ton of blogs back then about Photoshop stuff, and it was great because there'd be screenshot. You just follow along. Um,
yeah.
I had joined a couple free like little mini courses that people were giving away as a lead capture in order to try to get me to pay for the better ones, but I didn't have any money. So even if I wanted to,
Right.
I had no credit card that I could hypothetically max out to do it. So
Yeah.
I used, I say it all the time. I used what I had until what I had kind of started paying for what I wanted and upgrades and all
Hmm.
that good stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, dude, it's cool to see because I went back from like your first, I was like going back to people's first YouTube videos. And I believe it was a beat making one of your
Yeah.
first videos. And you were like you're like pretty good still, like way back then. So, I mean, what was like, did you already have some skills going into your YouTube channel?
I mean, that's very subjective. Yeah, I find it a little bit cringeworthy now, but I had the
Yeah.
skills to get started, right? I had the skills to kind of just go for it.
Hmm.
At that point, the video that you're referring to, I shot in 2009. Um, on my current channel, it was 2010 because there was a gap of time where I was making beat making videos, and it was like Adam Ivy Beats or Adam Ivy Official, and I wanted to change the URL, so you had to create a whole new page. Anyway, 2009, that was already 3 years into me making beats. And so I remember that video well. I had a fitted cap on. I had a t-shirt that had like a bow tie on it with like skeleton ribs and stuff. And I was like, what's good, people? It's Adam Ivy beat making video. It was bad, right? But I
Oh
was
man.
portraying somebody that I thought was going to resonate with an audience, right? I thought that the whole stage persona had to be a character, and it wasn't until years later where I started just feeling like this doesn't feel true. This doesn't like I never really wore fitted caps all too often out in public, so it was just like it was like a costume almost, and I just
I
wanted to be
see.
more authentic. Adam's my real name. It. I just wanted to be me. If people thought I was nerdy, if people thought like I didn't care.
Yeah.
I grew up relatively poor with a bunch of acne and messed up teeth, and so it's like I got made fun of so much that when I started on YouTube, I just wanted to be cool. I just wanted to fit in. And
Sure.
then here we are all these years later, and I'm more myself than I've ever been, and I feel about as
That's
cool as I've
beautiful.
ever felt. So
That's
yeah,
beautiful,
man.
Adam. Yeah. So, which kind of leads me into the next segue of like entrepreneurship and your creation of Just Be Authentic.
Oh, sure,
Was
sure.
was that did that kind of parallel to like when you stopped like playing, I guess, the character and started wanting to be more yourself? Is that like around the same time frame, would you say?
Yeah, so kind of. Okay, so I started Jusbi in 2016. I was listening to a podcast. I don't know if I've ever actually told this story. I was listening to a podcast while mowing my lawn, and I was listening to like a inspirational, motivational type podcast. And the woman that was being interviewed at the very end, the host was like, "What are your closing thoughts?" And then she said something like, "Just be focused on your happiness. Just be focused on bringing value. Just be." And they're like, she just kept saying "just be," and I was like, "Just be" would be like a word, JUSBI. I'm like, that's kind of cool. And then I worked up a logo, and then my buddy Elvis helped me refine the logo. Next thing you know, I'm $60,000 in credit card debt with a whole bunch of, you know, inventory because I didn't know what I was doing. And I ran an apparel company for 2 years out of ego, because fitness has
Oh,
always been a part of my life since I was about 14. Actually, before that, I was in martial arts from the time I was between first and second grade all the way up through high school. So
that's cool.
being in shape and being fit and then weightlifting and trying to be buff and all of that good stuff, like that came later. But fitness and the fitness industry, especially at that point in my life in 2016, was such a glimmer of hope. It was just like, I really like what this is feeling like. I like the individuals. I like a lot of the emerging brands and stuff. Gymshark was kind of newer. It was already established compared to my brand, obviously. But what I'm getting at is it was the whole entire brand, the whole entire business was based out of ego. Me as a smug
Yeah,
marketer, I'm like, I could start whatever business and I could be successful at whatever business and I'll show that I can do it. And I
interesting.
had gone through um, some relationship type trauma at that time. So I was doing everything I could to kind of just stay focused on work and burying my head into staying productive. And so being able to start that brand really taught me a lot about the physical product space, taught me a whole lot about sourcing. It taught me a whole lot about supply and demand. And it taught me about, you know, I could start a fitness apparel line, but guess what? All of my audience is here either for parody videos, marketing tips, or beats. And so I was like, okay. And so what I did was for 2 years, I pushed the brand, broke even in 2018, made about, I have to go look at the numbers, made between 5 and 10 grand profit after 2 years. And
Yeah,
now I have like $20,000 worth of inventory sitting in my garage, ready to be sold. I needed a break. I
yeah.
got burnt out and I realized that staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning sewing on hem tags myself with a sewing machine, literally doing that myself and all that, it just wasn't fulfilling anymore. And
Yeah.
so I kind of lost sight of the purpose why I started that business. So instead of just getting rid of everything, I had a couple offers for people to buy the business. I said, you know what, I still believe in it, but I have to
Hmm.
kind of put it on the back burner to find myself again. And here we are. Possibly next year I'll open it back up and maybe have my team help me run it,
Can
sell through
people?
the old inventory. People can't buy anything right now. The
Okay.
store is in like maintenance mode
Okay.
over at justbe.com because I bought a house last year with my beautiful fiance. And when we moved, everything got put into like storage totes. So I don't even know what my inventory looks like. And it's not fair to
Well,
go
when it
through all
opens
those.
back up, I wanna buy something because your brand and your message is so inspiring, and to see the journey and your purpose is, you're leading by example, Adam, and dude, it's so inspirational. I know many people, obviously your following and your fan base feels the same way. So, thank you. So let me know when it opens up because I want to definitely support your business for everything that you do because you put everything out for the most part online for free. And
Yeah,
I think that's the way that people are creating value for others, and then brings people in. So I want to I definitely want to support, other than giving you a like and a comment.
sure. Hey man, I appreciate it. I appreciate that, man.
Hell yeah.
Big time.
All right. So yeah, when you were first starting out on your YouTube channel, was
Mhm.
there like a specific like initiative for growth? Because you were doing like parody, right? You're doing like beat making videos. Were you
Yeah.
trying to like target? Because I started off like way back then with my friend Nine Diamond, who I think is a follower of
Oh,
yours as well,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he introduced me to you as well. He's like, you know what, you might find this guy pretty fascinating, Adam Ivy. He's always got something positive to say. He's an entrepreneur, he's a go-getter, he's getting after it. So he's the one that connected me to you. Shout out Nine Diamond. And
Yeah,
I have
definitely. Shout out to Nine Diamond.
other friends who follow you as well. Heido is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Heido Experience. He told me to say hi. He says hi. So yeah, man. People that I follow and I connect with follow you and appreciate your content. So this is good stuff. But was there like I guess, were you trying to target specific videos that were going viral? What was the like initial strategy for growth?
So the first like 8 years of my YouTube channel, I think I gained maybe 35,000 subscribers, maybe 50 max. Like when I switched over to doing music marketing and branding and music industry business type videos, I lost somewhere between 11 and 15,000 subscribers that it had taken me 8 years to get to that point, because I changed my focus and finally found my groove. I finally found something that I was passionate about. And I finally found myself doing content that I wanted to make, that I could sustain, that I enjoyed, that I had some knowledge and some experience in, to where it was really something I was passionate about. And up until then, I had made beat making videos because I saw other people making beat making videos and I wanted people to notice me. I wanted people to buy my beats. I did parodies. Quite honestly, I started doing parody videos as an escape from trying to make, money with music. And so that was like, I was already in front of the computer. I'm already making music. I might as well record some parody stuff because, Weird Al and Lonely Island and people like that I've always enjoyed it. But then I found myself at a point where I always was disappointed doing parody videos because nothing hit like the first one I did. Always felt like a failure. Then you'd get copyright strikes and then you'd have to go through that process. And then I made a bunch of different reaction style videos and vlogs, and the majority of it's still up on my channel. A few things that I was a little embarrassed by, I took down just because it was like bad audio quality and I just let it up. But I was completely lost on YouTube for probably 6 or 7 years, just trying to chase what I thought was going to work, rather than the content that I wanted to make. I was out of touch with my audience. I'd give them a parody and I get a ton of views and I get a ton of likes and new subscribers. And then I would give them a vlog of me traveling to see family. And that's not what they were there for. So I would always have a constant fluctuation of people coming in, people leaving, people complaining, people complaining. There was a lot of people complaining. And, I was just trying to throw everything I could up against that wall and see, hey, what's going to stick? And it never felt natural. And then all of a sudden I started doing advice type videos, and even unboxings felt a little bit better, and tech reviews and how to start making beats and where to start and what to do when people don't believe in you, and beat block, and even things that I was dealing with at that time.
Yeah. I
would almost be talking to the camera as if I was talking to myself. It's like, Adam, you could pull yourself out of this. Adam, people do care. Adam, and I was just talking to the camera and trying to bring that perspective to someone else that might need it in that moment that I needed it more, more than anyone. So
I understand completely.
Yeah. And then 2015, 2016 came around, started coming around that corner. I think the discipline that I was putting on my own shoulders for the clothing line and some marketing contracts I was doing for corporations really allowed me to focus in and say, stuff's not supposed to be fun all the time. That's why people quit. But if I embrace the fact that this sucks a lot of times, there's going to be a whole lot of people quitting and complaining and saying that it can't be done. I need those people to be there, because you can't be on top of the podium with no other competitors, right? So, that's the one thing, is more than ever, you can outwork others, but you have to, go and outwork yourself, outwork the day before, outwork the month before, to, really prove to yourself that, hey, this is fun. Hey, you're capable. Hey, you can create some pretty cool stuff if you put your mind to it.
Yeah. So I guess what was what kept you going? Was it, you said the discipline aspect? That's something that I struggle with. I'm like extremely inconsistent, like extremely.
Yeah.
So I guess during those times when you're, I guess, doubting yourself, like having those thoughts of like, no one cares and things along those lines, what kept you disciplined?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it all boils down to the fact that when somebody says that you're a failure, when somebody says that you're not capable, they can either be right or they can be wrong. It's up to us to prove that. Yeah. So being told in high school that college wasn't for me because I had a bad GPA is why I put a license plate that says bad GPA on my car. I grew up poor, like I said, and I hate saying that in interviews like this because I know that my mom and some of my family watch some of these, right? So, but they know that we had free food at school, free lunches, free breakfast, hand-me-down clothes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna put that out there. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's what you do with that is what matters. So you could either embrace that and become part of your life and have a cycle to where now you raise your kids in the same way and they raise their kids in the same way. And I knew that there was always more. I always felt like I watched both my parents work their faces off, and I watched both of my parents want the best for us. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna really show them what we're capable of. You know,
Yeah.
I never ended up being that NFL athlete that I thought I was gonna be. You know, at 5'8", I'm not exactly you know, NFL you
Sure.
know, prospect over here. But you know, through hobbies like working on cars and fitness, and you get around the right people, and you just say, you know what, we can really do something here. Well, I've always been a builder, right?
Yeah.
So I got this car. Okay, well, you know, I could swap the motor out. I put different wheels and suspension, and I could learn how to do all this stuff and learn how to paint cars or window tint and stereos. And okay, what's next, right? Okay, bodybuilding. Okay, if I do this consistently and I eat right, then I can get buff like the guys I'm seeing on TV. I could be like the Hulk, right? And then it's the same with music. Oh, you know, I heard this on the radio. If I figure this out, I can have something on the radio. So I've always been a builder. I've always been a fixer. Um, and what it really boils down to, like I said, is I want to prove everybody wrong. I have a massive chip on my shoulder from being picked on and teased and told that I was, you know, at the apex of my life, you know, making about 40 or 50 grand a year, working in a wood window factory 70 hours a week at 20 years old. Everybody's like, "Oh, you really made it." I'm like, if this is what making it feels like, I don't know if
Yeah.
this is what I've been dreaming of. So I've always been the type that risk to me doesn't scare me as much as maybe the next person, because the alternative is just going back to being miserable and
I see you.
being poor and being, you know, not only poor financially, but poor in spirit, poor in mindset.
Yeah.
So I've always set out to what I call it breaking the cycle. So my mission is to break the cycle. My mission is to stick it to those who didn't believe it in me. My mission is to inspire those who are being told that same thing right now and seeing that it's possible. Because we only get one shot at this that I know of, right? Just to
Sure.
find out. But I'm going to spend my days, you know, pushing it to the limit and, you know, seeing what I can provide for myself, my family, my friends, people that are around me, and really try to make an impact in the world, even though I know that sounds kind
Yeah.
of like Tony Robbins
Cliche
type
or
of thing.
something.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's the thing that we are only limited by our own actions and beliefs. So for the most part, right? If I wanted to become the president of the United States, there might be a path to that. But I mean,
Right.
in other ventures, especially in the entrepreneur space, um, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. So, you know, I'm
Yeah.
thirsty and hungry for the adventure of that and progress. And it's like, you know, the saying goes, proud but never satisfied. I think I embody that every single day, which can be a gift and a curse a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess like I want to move on to mentorship because you talk about some of this in your videos, like mentorship.
Sure.
How did you go about finding your mentors, I guess? And, you know, like what was the importance and what was the significance of mentorship in your life?
I think mentorship, whether it's me providing it to others or others providing it to me, is very similar to like self-help books. I think a lot of people think that in life you need to have one mentor for a year and then find another for 18 months and then find another for 5 years. And I don't think it's like that. I think if you find a good self-help book or an inspirational type book, you can read 3 chapters of it and get all you need out of it and then put it down and never read again, right? So the same goes for mentors. You have somebody around you might inspire you by the way that they're so emotionally stable. And you say, you know what? Even if I'm not asking them questions, I'm going to model their behavior and kind of see this different type of communication styles and whatnot that they put into place. Or maybe it's this person that's really good with money. I don't know how to spend money. You know, growing up in a household that wasn't exactly financially literate, maybe I'm going to just pick his brain a little bit, whether it's my own CPA who I pay to do payroll now and I have meetings with him, or an uncle or somebody that I work with, you know, at a day job along the way. And having those conversations and just listening is so important. Instead of just saying, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, all that good stuff, which I think I just repeated myself. It's more so about listening to how others operate and then listening to what they're saying to you when they're not on, right? Because everybody can lecture, but how are they talking to you? What are they saying to you when they're just being authentically them? So going out, kind of being very aware of your surroundings, I find is super important.
Yeah.
Because when you go out looking for a mentor, you're like going looking for a message board of local entrepreneurs. That can work. People that offer mentorship, especially, you know, when they charge, that works because they have a system and they they understand the value behind that. But I think that you can be mentored by even a sibling. You can be mentored by a loved one. You can be mentored by somebody that you bump into at the grocery store and you have conversations with them. So it's passive and active. I think if you need questions answered, go to somebody who's done it. Go to somebody who has that experience under their belt. Even if you have to pay for their time, don't go up to 25 people and say, hey, can I buy you coffee and pick your brain? Because people that are really doing it, probably don't have the time. That might be insulting that you think you can trade an hour of their time as a consultation for a $6 coffee. So I think that building relationships and saying, what can I provide to them? How can I even just provide good conversation instead of saying like, first, hey, I'm Adam. How'd you get that Ferrari? It's like, hey man, I see that you're doing this charitable work. Like, what is that all about? Where'd that come from? Like you got to really dig deep if you want people to open up and give you the sauce. Especially when it's in your everyday life for people you cross paths with. Again, there are great mentors out there. Just look at credentials, and even better yet, look at other people that they've mentored. Are they, good people? Are they happy with, the experience? And, make your own educated decisions. But I think mentorship, no different than when we're raised by our parents or some type of adult, some type of supervised existence. We take a lot of those traits from that time frame. So just because you're 18 doesn't mean that it won't be beneficial to seek that out at that stage of your life, especially growing into becoming an adult.
Yeah. Talking about going deep or like putting in the effort, you often shit on the fire emoji as a a frivolous or just very just not really authentic and not really like a genuine interest in showing some people some support or asking questions and things like that, which can lead to maybe you were saying something like a follow but not a fan. Explain the difference between somebody who follows you and a fan, and what's the importance of that when growing your brand?
So a lot of people in life, so reciprocity goes directly to, you do something for someone, the law of reciprocity means that they're going to feel like they need to do something for you, right? Whether that's you compliment somebody and they say, oh, you look great too. Like, they weren't intending on complimenting you, but they do it because they want to reciprocate that action. So when it comes to social media, the best way to actually grow a following that then turns to a fan base is by caring about them, asking legitimate questions, interacting, acknowledging. And so often it's so easy to have copy and paste messages of, I rip on the fire emoji because I see it more than any other emoji. I love the fire emoji. I used to, until it got kind of played out in that regard. But I think that when you use emojis and things that are very just generic, people know that you're just trying to run the numbers game, right? It's like the old Twitter follow unfollow. And early on, people don't know those ways. But when they start seeing 2 people do it, then 20 people do it, then everybody doing it, and accounts that don't have any actual posts, and you're like, what are these? Oh, those are bot accounts. Oh, what's that? People educate, whether it's passively or through their own experiences. So going out and actually engaging with people that are in the same group, the same like-minded space as you are, through hashtags, through like or similar accounts, and then having real conversations, asking genuine questions, putting out, ponderables in the universe as far as things to think about, and just your own opinions, really gets people thinking. It's one thing for you to gather around a water cooler at work and somebody go up and say, how about that weather, huh? It's like super generic. It's just small talk. You don't talk about that or think about that later, versus going up to that same water cooler and saying like, can you believe this week everybody in the AFC lost their home game? And then like, there might only be 2 people that are interested in football, but that they're going to go back to their desk and they're going to see if that's a legitimate fact. Then they're going to come back and say like, man, I didn't even think you were, I thought you were joking. I went and checked, you're right. And then boom, you have a connection with 2 football fans over a statement based on something you're interested in. And it's the same amount. How about that weather? How about those AFC teams at home, right? So going out there and being a genuine person to other people that exist. I think so many times it's easy to look at social media as everybody are just robots, right? And we're self-serving. We have this
Yeah.
load of things that we need to deliver. It's like, my music here, new videos here, you got a podcast here. And we're
Yeah.
throwing rather than having, we're not handing off, we're just throwing. And
Yeah.
so, a handshake goes a long way. And so when somebody comes in and they decide to follow you within those first few seconds of discovering your content, it's then up to you to keep them there, retain them.
Yeah.
In a recent video on YouTube, I walked through what I call the value follow formula, which starts off with gateway content into a retention path into what's the third one? It's dependency. I was going to say dedication, dependency. So you get the gateway content that brings people into your ecosystem. That could be snippets of a podcast. That could be opinionated, memes or something. That could be, if you're really into politics, it could be that. And then a retention path, meaning you have a consistent posting schedule. You have a lot of content maybe in the can that they could go check out, that retains them, that keeps them there. And then becoming dependent on you. I know that the whole term dependency has a negative connotation, but just like a sibling, a loved one, a parent, you can depend on them to be there for you in the best of most pure of ways, right? So if your audience is dependent on your content because you're providing a laugh or a smile, or you're giving them something just to think about, or inspiration, education, entertainment, any of that, then it's a good thing for them to come to you every day. And so that's how that bond is formed from a follower to a fan. And your brand and what you're building as a personal brand is what's going to be left when you don't have any content new right now. Maybe you take a month off of YouTube. Well, if your success is all predicated on new videos, then you have a few weeks where you're not going to be successful. But I'd much rather have people come and ask me, hey Adam, where's the new videos? Like, are you okay? Somebody asking me if I'm okay when I've never talked to them before in my life means that the brand is really resonating with somebody. The message is hitting.
Yeah, absolutely. So like when you're talking about different strategies or different, I guess, engagement with these different social medias, say for example, YouTube and Instagram, these are some of the mediums that I follow you on, YouTube and Instagram. How often should people post? Are there different strategies for YouTube compared to Instagram? Like, how do you differentiate? How do you learn? How does someone go about focusing in on growing Instagram compared to focusing in and growing YouTube? Like, how often should they post on Instagram versus how often should they post on YouTube? What type of, how do you know all this stuff? Is it analytics that you're looking at? How do you know what to give your followers?
I mean, honestly, I think it's a lot of it is analytics and metrics and paying attention to what's working, paying attention to when my audience is most active, paying attention to how they engage with certain captions. If I ask them a question, are they answering it, or are they engaging more when I say something that's just real to me, maybe inspirational or whatever, without even asking a question, and they're kicking their 2 cents in? What does that look like? So it's half analytics, half common sense. If a show comes out on TV, on Netflix, for example, and you really like it, it's part of a series, and you have the option between binge watching an entire series of 12 episodes or one part of that episode or one part of that season, and then you don't know when the next one's coming, you're not going to get emotionally vested in something that you don't trust is going to continue to feed that dopamine and serotonin spike. So as far as YouTube, as far as Instagram, I can sit here all day and say 2 videos a week on YouTube or 1 video a week and every single day on Instagram. But people have different schedules. People have different priorities. Some people aren't growing a business. Some people are just growing a hobby or a brand, or they're trying to build a community around, they print off custom vinyl decals on Cricut and they have a community of people that are on Etsy. And there's so many different opportunities out there. So be consistent. Set up a posting schedule that's comfortable to you. And then if you can ramp that up as you're getting the feedback, your audience is going to tell you what they want. So keep doing more of that. Stop making content for yourself. And when it comes to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, for example, those are all visual platforms. So by all means, you should be creating a video for YouTube and then being able to break it down into something, whether it's a promo type video, whether it's a little snippet or a more concise, hard-hitting message out of that longer form video. I do that a lot on my Instagram, thanks to Danny, thanks to Ricky. They edit down a lot of my YouTube videos into the little snippets and stuff. But we really need to be able to go out there and piece it all together to where it's not overwhelming, because two things are going to stop you in your track: overwhelm and boredom. Right. So if you get burnt out or bored of what you're doing, you're not going to want to do it anymore. It's going to feel like a job. It's going to feel mundane. And then next thing you know, you're going to despise what you set out and were having fun doing at one point. So general rule of thumb, if you're just getting started, try to post on Instagram 3 or 4 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or every other day. And then YouTube once a week, if you can, or once every other week. It depends on what type of content really, but you want to stay engaged, because if you're staying front of mind to people, whether it be 15 people or 15,000, they're going to look for you. They're going to have an association with your thumbnail, your image, your content, making them feel good. So you need to keep feeding that. It's almost like a drug dealer in a way, because that dopamine and serotonin spike, all the drugs that are released in our head when, you know, we're enjoying what we're doing, there's a direct correlation. I don't know who you all subscribe to on YouTube, but there's a few people that I subscribe to that I will stop what I'm doing to watch their videos. And so that's what you want to become. You got to aspire to be that for people.
Yeah, there is something that people enjoy about the consistency of your content, about the consistency of my content. I'm a big follower of Joe's podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast, the consistency of his, you know, his posting and things like that. So I definitely feel you. I definitely feel you on that one. I guess, you know, to kind of wrap this up, Adam, you know, what advice would you give to your younger self? I like to ask that question, you know, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, that's a damn loaded question. I'm gonna let you go. I don't want to answer. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. So advice to give to my younger self would be primarily just follow through before getting bored. There's so many times that I had something in the works and I would just get bored of it, and I would constantly try to chase the next shiny object, constantly try to go after something new and prove to everybody else that I could be really good at something, rather than becoming great at just a couple things. Because being good at everything doesn't get you, you know, a documentary made about you on Netflix. Being great at like 1 or 2 things is what actually gets you to that point. Guys like Mark Cuban, Zuckerberg, you know, Elon Musk, for example, they're really freaking good at what they do, but they also have massive companies and massive abilities to delegate, knowing that they can't do everything, knowing that there's people that do it much better than them in a lot of different areas. So looking back, I can honestly say that, you know, I've had my ups and downs in my life, but I don't regret much. I'm glad everything has worked out the way it has, because I'm living the dream. I'm very happy with where I am today. So I wouldn't want to change anything. I would just tell my younger self, probably pay attention in school a little bit. I graduated with like a 1.7 GPA.
Damn.
But, you know, to be able to go out and follow through on some things, I think that I would have scaled even faster with my music. I would have built my YouTube channel even faster. I think I'd be way further ahead, at least business wise. But it's all a learning experience. So, you know, don't take yourself too seriously, Adam. Have fun with it. Don't get stressed out as much as I need to listen to that advice even to this day. But yeah, looking back, it's been a wild ride, but a whole lot of character development.
Almost like the cliche of like, it's not necessarily about the destination, but it's about the journey, because we're living in real time right now and experiencing all these cool and disappointing experiences that are just, it's a fucking roller coaster, man. And
really
I heard somebody say, like, you wouldn't want like, if you're like, life is a book, you wouldn't want it every like chapter to be good. Like, oh, chapter 1, it's good. Chapter 2 is good. Chapter 3 is good. That's fucking boring. Although it seems like a good path, the ups and downs are, it's exciting because you learn all these different things. You get to experience the lows, you get to experience the highs. And if my old boss used to tell me, don't get too high on the highs and don't get too low on the lows. And so if you could, instead of taking like this huge like roller coaster at Six Flags or something, take a nice one at Disneyland or something, you know, where it's just kind of, I guess, mellow. I don't know if that's a cool analogy or a good analogy.
No, it
or whatever.
makes sense. It really does.
But yeah, it's definitely about the destination, not so much about the journey. That's something that I can agree with. So
Yeah,
Adam, thank you so much for your time, dude. I
of course.
sincerely appreciate it. Yeah, man, take good care. I appreciate it a
No,
lot.
I appreciate the opportunity, man. It's great being able to connect with not only you, but your audience. Yeah, hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, so people could find you at your stuff like at adamivy.com. Where is that, like the broad generalization of where your content is?
Yeah, adamivy.com. If you want to go to my YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/adamivy. Adam Ivy on Instagram. You can go to channelfamily.com. It'll take you to my YouTube. What else? Yeah, come just connect with me on Instagram at Adam Ivy. And then from there, as a marketer, it's my job to get you everywhere else. So Adam Ivy, Instagram, easy to find.
Yeah, I'll put the links in the description to this video. Thank you so much for
appreciate it,
sharing
man.
with me, and
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing with my audience. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me, man. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Hey, what's up? I'm Marty Yang, creator of the Lucky Brain podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoy.